So this life, this wild and crazy life, what a wild spectrum of possibilities arise. It's no wonder that we are longing to find the calm in the storm. No wonder that we're wanting to find what is stable, what is consistent. What are we? What is this life? What's it all about? Because if we try to understand it, it will just drive us crazy. It will just drive us more into the wilds of misunderstanding. We start out completely free. We never truly leave this freedom, and yet these overlays of story come in that are such a tangle and create these seeming veils that we are tangled in, these stresses and traumas. This great misunderstanding and belief in separation, belief that we're divided from wholeness, that we are divided from love, when in our deepest hearts we know only this love, only this truth. We are so deeply longing to be living this. Pulled into spiritual ideas because there are resonances that bring alive the resonance of remembrance, start to spark the remembrance of divinity, of wholeness, of truth. Start to feel the opening of the heart. So compelling. The last thing we want to do is have to go back and tidy up the mess, right? We want to keep traveling into the light, right? Of course, makes total sense. And of course, the wild and crazy thing is that we hear that mess that keeps pulling us, the residues, the tangles, we just keep hearing, well, they're not real anyway. They're not real. Don't worry about those. Just stay true. Just stay true. You'll be okay. And yet these sticky places keep calling, these tangles. It's like we keep tripping over, like we've got our feet tangled in string, rope, glue, all kinds of sticky, tangly things. We're constantly trying to make a mad dash for the light, to hold on to this resonance of remembrance. The thing is that wholeness includes everything. Wholeness includes everything. There is no division. There is no separation. There's nothing that we have to get away from and nothing that we have to journey to. It's actually about being here in this moment so fully and being present with exactly what is here, just as it is. Great glory, being present with presence, being presence with the presence of being presence with the sense of openness and freedom, the sense of clarity and joy that is here. But it is also about being present with what keeps tangling us. And in this moment, what is here? Where does the attention go? There is a wisdom, and we are being invited to open to the true wisdom, to stop being influenced and distracted by ideas of who we should be, what this life should look like, and to be so present that we can actually really be attuned to the wisdom of who we are, the deep presence, the deep silent presence of who we are. Because this deep silent presence is open and allowing, and it welcomes everything. Yes, it welcomes the knowing of itself. It welcomes the resonance, the aliveness of the presence of being, deep welcoming of the natural peace, clarity, the extraordinary simplicity of just being here. But this silent presence also welcomes anything in this moment that feels like a tangle, anything in this moment that feels like resistance. The being doesn't engage on a level of trying to understand. The being just is the open awareness that is naturally welcoming. So there's no natural resistance to anything. And what we come to realize is that all resistance is of the mind. So the mind resisting the mind resisting the stresses. But the being is welcoming it all. So when we open here in presence right now to this moment, it's just to notice, where does the attention go? What is actually being noticed here? Trust the wisdom. What is being noticed is an invitation to open to what's here. We could say to be the openness that naturally welcomes what's here. Often the attention will go first to the thoughts, to memory. The attention will go first to the tangle because that's habitual. Now, as we deepen and mature, the attention naturally rests in the being, isn't so fixated upon the moving, changing. But what is not happening is that we're not following the commands of the mind. We're not trusting this false spiritual authority that tells us what to do, how we should be, what should be happening, and mostly how we are failing miserably at achieving what we are trying to achieve. All of that is a protective strategy. So what we are speaking of is about being here so present as the presence that everything is welcome. We have to play a fine edge because everything is welcomed. But if we make a project out of tidying up our residues, we could end up in the mind and in the psychological realm, which really is a maze that we'll never escape from. But if we veer too much towards the transcendent and get lost in this idea of the absolute being everything and having an unwillingness to really truly welcome everything, then we also will not feel whole. Wholeness is balance. Wholeness is harmony. And it is living as a harmonizing flow. In a way, our human life, this crazy, wild human life, is about constantly rebalancing. Being the wide open space, the peace. Knowing without question that you are the unmoving, unchanging. You are the light, you are the wide open heart that is love, pure love, the love without condition. That you are radiance, you are wholeness. Simply, just by virtue of being here yourself, that you have never been broken, distorted, you have never been deficient in all of the ways that the mind believes. But we cannot cancel out that belief by ignoring it. We can only cancel out those beliefs in deficiency and lack, in brokenness, by actually welcoming those places that believe, I am broken, I am unlovable, I am unworthy, something is wrong with me. It's only when we welcome these places and we actually listen to the heart song and welcome these places right back into the presence of love, into the presence of wholeness, that we are constantly rebalancing. We're rebalancing out of our imbalanced belief in separation, division, the possibility that it could be even a possibility to be apart from God, apart from love, that we're constantly rebalancing, harmonizing our wisdom light, our knowing of what is true, and our belief in our brokenness. We're constantly rebalancing, meeting, inquiring, receiving the wisdom, holding this precious light, this wide open heart of love that is absolutely ever present to anything and everything that arises, and rebalancing, 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 reconfiguring, reconfiguring. And in this reconfiguring, the sense of my heart starts to open out of its ways of protection. And as there's an opening out of the sense of my protection, because I need to protect in order to survive, we start to open and the protections start to fall away as we are holding such a loving present space. And of course, the space is the infinite, unbounded field of what we are in truth. This is what we're speaking about, the spectrum of this life. It's vast, it's incredible, it's extraordinarily magnificent. And everything is included. The truth is, you are the glory, we are the glory. We are radiance. You are a radiant light, resonating. But if there is anything obscuring that has you not believe it, then the only way to clear that is not to dodge and get away from it, but is to meet, inquire, open to. Who is this one? What are these beliefs? What happens when these beliefs are listened to, heard, met with loving presence, like real loving presence, right? As in the wide openness, the true safety of being. What happens to these places as they actually receive all that they have been longing for and yet somehow starved of? These places that have been neglected, exiled, stuffed down, pushed away, kept secret and hidden. That when we truly open to the expansive, boundless, glorious wilds of our own consciousness, that we are opening to all that we are. We're opening to an invitation to meet ourselves so deeply, so fully, to not deny any part of what we are. If we take on new beliefs, and those new beliefs could be, well, none of it's real anyway. None of that story is real. If it's taken on as a belief, it will become a limiting belief. If it's known in absolute radiant truth, then great glory. Alleluia, here's the celebration, right? But we're not here to make new beliefs, because all beliefs are limiting. We're here to see through our beliefs. We're here to see through all of the ways that we identify. We're here to seize the opportunities that life offers us. We're here to be cracked open again and again. We're here to have the courage to meet all that we are, all that we have believed about ourselves, and receive all of the ways that life offers us these opportunities to open, 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 and release and release and release. But this fine edge is that we don't make a project, a mental project out of it. Oh no, I can't know my true nature until I've tidied up, until I've done all this work. Because the whole complex dance of life is the absolute, complete experience that is needed in order to know ourselves fully. And that is the glory of this life, as wild and crazy as it may seem sometimes, is that it's complete. It contains everything, because we are creating it out of all that we are in order to reflect back to us what we could not otherwise see, to give us the opportunity to meet all that we are, welcome, receive all that we are, see through our delusions, see through our conditionings and protections, release, let go, and come to a sense of wholeness that includes everything. Life is constantly offering us opportunities to see the places where we feel broken, to see where we make judgments and we have big opinions and we make projections about this one and that one, when people don't do things the way that we want them to be done. How we identify with the ideas of what is right and what is wrong, that my clock is telling the right time and your clock most definitely isn't, and you should see things my way. What a graced opportunity it is to find out, oh, who is that one? What's going on under there? What are you believing about yourself if you are triggered? What is feeling threatened? What is feeling stirred? And are you open and willing to turn the light upon yourself instead of projecting that beam out into the play? Are you willing to see through the play, and that the play is not something for you to get involved in and to be sharing your judgments and opinions with your companions, hoping to get validation? Let's join together and have an opinion about someone, right? Let's talk about what's right and wrong, and let's come together and agree that we're right and they're wrong, right? What a graced opportunity to catch every moment that these kind of things arise, to have the willingness to catch when there's a charge inside you, where your nervous system is triggered, where there's some kind of resistance, where there's a judgment, an opinion, and really use the graced opportunity to meet yourself more deeply. Find out what is threatened here. What is being challenged here? Is this the true you? What is happening here? What is calling out from inside? What exiled place is calling out, trying to surface, wanting to be heard, wanting to be seen? What opportunity awaits right here when there is resistance and challenge arising? It takes as long as it takes. There are no wrong turns. It is a unique adventure, opening to remember yourself. And such a huge part of it is remembering the fine frequency of who you are, and also remembering your intuitive knowing that you are the authority. You know what is true. No one else can ever tell you what is right or true for you. And even if there is a following the truth of the mind because that's what feels right, then so be it. Life will bring in exactly what is needed to redirect, bring forward the blind spot. The truth is, who you are is awareness. You are pure awareness, the pure aware being. Your deep essence nature is silence. You are the still, silent presence of being. You are wide, wide, infinite, eternal being. And your heart knows this. The knowing of this is already awake and alive inside. Inside your own presence, inside your own being, this knowing is like a radiant light shining. And the invitation is to turn to this radiant light and remember, because this remembrance is the unmoving, unchanging, the true safety, the perfect love, the resonance of truth that is the anchor in all storms, the sanctuary, and it is the presence that guides the way and welcomes these discordant places. It pulls forth the discordance. This is the truth of who you are. And this is who you have believed yourself to be. And even when you know this is the truth of who you are, all of the residues of the places are still here, tangled and sticky, and just waiting to be called into the spotlight, waiting to be called into the presence of love, like moths to a flame. There is absolutely nothing in your lived experience that is outside of this wholeness. The mind can come in with ideas that certain things shouldn't be included, certain things are not okay. But everything, absolutely everything, is an opportunity to meet this, to meet what is arising. Open to, what does this place want you to know? What is this part of you that wants to be seen, wants to be heard? And will you open to meet this tender part of yourself with compassion and love? Or will you move in the instinctual protective way to project away from it, using the learned means of judgment, opinion, projection? Are you very committed to being right and that your way is right? Are you looking for approval, trying to control? All of these are graced opportunities to inquire, what is happening here? What is going on here? What is underneath this pull to move in these ways? Everything is an opportunity. Everything that feels discordant is an opportunity to inquire, to meet these discordant places in presence, in the presence of love that is welcoming, naturally allowing, and invite the wisdom of these voices to be heard. Allow these places that are hidden within you to be seen by you, to be heard by you, to be listened to. The places that are terrified, the places that are angry, the places that are hurt, the places that are fearful, anxious, stressed, places that are raging with fury, places that want to hate. And it is also then, of course, to meet all of the voices that are critical and judgmental, pointed towards yourself, the places of shame and guilt. Because it is the holding within our nervous system of shame and guilt that actually creates the appearance of my world, my life. It creates the appearance of the play in order to reflect back to us so that we can meet the places where we feel shame, ashamed, guilty. So the shame and the guilt and the doubt, this is the reference of our sense of having done something wrong with me. It leaves us with this deep feeling of shame, of some kind of brokenness, some kind of lack. And it is only when we open as this radiant light, as this presence of love to these places that we are rebalancing, harmonizing all of the parts, allowing the discordant patternings to drop away, release into the presence of true safety, into the presence of love, so that the opening and the remembrance of what we are, the remembrance of wholeness, can refine its frequency. We can come to finer and finer frequencies of remembrance. The finer frequencies flow to refine and purify the nervous system. The purification will take the form of things happening in life that offer us this possibility to purify. And the refinement will allow the nervous system to come to be able to resonate at subtler and subtler frequencies. So we start to really feel the wisdom of this whole play, of what's really happening here. We start to really trust the knowing of who we are. We start to remember the holiness and the sacredness, the glory of God, the divinity. We could call this the wholeness or the innocence even. We remember the innocence. And of course, as we remember the wholeness, the innocence, the divinity, we come to the unspeakable, immeasurable, unfathomable, not knowing. Just this, just what is, just this, just what is. And the thing about this is that we cannot fake it. And why would we want to? But we cannot in any way move from pretense, because life is the wisdom, is the intelligence, and it will keep bringing forward what is needed. And we will just keep having these opportunities to notice, oh, what's that trigger in the nervous system? What's that charge? What is that resistance? What is the possibility, the opportunity in this resistance or this trigger that's happening? What is this offering? Because as we open to receive everything in this way, it actually supports, of course, our deepening into the remembrance of being. Because then these residues are not constantly pulling the attention. And this is where it is a rebalancing, a constant harmonizing within our inner functioning. inquiring, opening, listening, receiving, feeling the feelings, coming to an intimacy with sensation. And also as part of that, knowing when we need to be held in that, knowing when we need companionship in that, knowing when something is arising that you don't seem to be able to get to the bottom of, you don't seem to be able to dive all the way in. And of course, this is part of the surrender. It's part of the humbling. It's part of letting go of the protections, the sense of, I've got this, I'm holding it all together. Because this is about not holding it together. This is about letting it fall apart, letting that whole structure of control, of protection, actually fall apart. That we have to let go of our strategies and my way and the way that my clock is telling the right time and everyone else needs to conform and see things my way. We have to let go into a surrender to the timeless, to the flow of life, where things are not the way that we maybe want them to be, that we can't control, we can't manipulate, not if we want to be free, not if we are truly longing for freedom. If we are longing for freedom, we have to be willing to open and see the places where we feel threatened, see what our deep beliefs, limiting beliefs are. We have to be willing to open to all of the ways that we limit ourselves through identifying with a character in the play that is holding these strategies, right? It can be quite shocking to realize how much unconscious behavior is still at play, how involved we are in the play, how we're believing it and moving as a character, how easy it is to get drawn in. But as easy as it is to get drawn in, it is to see that you're being drawn in and just stop, recognize, oh, I'm acting out of division here. I'm acting from a place that is protective. I feel threatened here. In truth, it is only as we, in our unfolding, are as willing to meet these places and surrender through them as we are to sit and open to the transcendent. Because these are the places that actually bring us to freedom. We can come to a certain kind of freedom in the absolute, that is for sure. But if we are free in the absolute, but not free in the play of the world, then that is not wholeness. We have to watch the ways that we behave. How do we interact with people? What are you thinking about your companions? How are you judging? How have you got ideas that people are not quite doing things the right way? How is that playing out? How are you telling people and projecting your ideas upon them, telling people things like, you know, the way that you behave is somehow not acceptable. You know, you trigger people. You're always spaced out. You're not tidy enough, right? How are we actually projecting and telling people that their ways of being are not okay? Of course, we also have the play too, where we have to have an awareness of, are you receiving people's projections and letting them land in a place that touches your sense of lack, right? This is where it's all a play. It's not about receiving and saying, well, that means it's true. That means that this is who I am. I'm somebody that upsets people. I'm somebody that triggers people. I'm somebody that people don't really like. Right? We have to be very, very careful in the ways that we move, the things that we say. Do we have the same courage to shine the light, turn it around, bring it back to yourself? Do we have the courage to shine the light in our own heart? Do we have the courage to shine the light and see that our judgments are offering us a way into a deeper intimacy with ourselves? What do you not like? What is not working? And of course, there are subtleties here, but we're speaking of it in this way because there's such an opportunity in life to see through all of the unconscious ways that we move. And truly, if we are wanting to come into the depths of this freedom, we have to have a willingness to illuminate the subtleties of where we are stuck. If you ever find yourself in a conversation with a companion where you're judging in some way, really be the one in that conversation that stops it. Be that one. Don't be the one that is joining in and speaking about other companions. Don't be that one. Use the opportunity to see the unconsciousness that's happening and don't perpetuate it. Have the courage to not play out trying to be liked, trying to fit in. Have the courage to say, no, not this. I won't do this. Have the courage to invite your companion that maybe to turn the projection around could be a graced invitation, right? There's so many opportunities, so many opportunities. And if we really want to abide and live the joy and beauty of what we are, all of these things that we're pointing to, they may seem trivial in a certain way, but these are the places that we constantly get hooked, where we get caught. Sometimes there are things that are big and really triggering, and they will take a long time to unhook. A lot of work, a lot of care, a lot of kindness, a lot of gentleness, and most incredible amounts of compassion. And that is why opening to the presence of being and knowing the truth of who you are is such an essential part of the unfolding, so that we can keep opening to feel the compassion, the love. Because this compassion, this love, we have to bring it to all that we are, all that you are. Because until we allow this compassion and love to really untangle and tenderize all of our protected places, we won't be extending that kind of care to our companions. Mm. There's so much possibility. When we are in this unfolding, what we recognize is that it's not personal. This is not your awakening. This is not your enlightenment. It's not your spiritual journey. Those are the ideas of someone. The maturing in this unfolding is when we come to realize this is for the whole. This is one. This is one consciousness. All of life, all of this human life is one consciousness in the process, an evolutionary, natural evolutionary process of remembering its divinity. So every moment of this life is not personal. It feels personal. And when it feels personal, we attend to those places that feel tender. But this is not personal. And what this means is that every moment is an offering to the whole. Every moment is about the whole of the human realm, the whole collective, coming to the remembrance of divinity. We're not even in the process of making a new humanity, a better humanity. We're in the process of remembering that our humanity actually is a program of limitation, that we're coming to remember our divinity, our purity, and what that means for our human expression, we cannot possibly know. We're in the process of bringing the light back to the surface of life, bringing the remembrance of perfect love back to the surface of life. We're absolutely shifting everything that we have known. And it's not about shifting it in my little world. Let's make this work for me. What is the selfish gain here, right? No, it's about everything being offered into the pot. Everything. Offering yourself into the pot, into the big unified field, right? Offering all that you are to the glory, to divinity, to love, to freedom, to truth, to God, whatever words we want to say. The words don't really matter because none of it really means the things that we make it mean with our mind. We tend to humanize and try to make things look a certain way, but in truth, none of this is the way that the human mind thinks it is. But it's as we offer our ideas, offer everything that we're identified with, offer the things that we want to give meaning to, offer all that we've believed ourselves to be, all the things that we want to hold as identity, we offer it all. And we keep working as an offering to the whole. We keep clearing and clearing and clearing as an offering to the whole, so that we can live this radiant truth, that we can really open to the remembrance of a love that is perfect and whole, to a light that is absolutely resplendent and integral, that we can come to these fine frequencies of remembrance. We can be nourished in the remembrance of who we are. We can allow the bliss to flow and our nervous systems to be so deeply nourished in this remembrance. None of this is personal. None of this belongs to anyone in particular. The whole unfolding is an orchestration for the remembrance of divinity, to be the radiant truth for the whole. As we open to the truth of who we are, the true nature, the glory, the being, the love, you see, it's not personal. It's for the whole. Keeping the allegiance with love. Keeping the allegiance with love. And every moment that it seems to be that something is asking you to leave that. An invitation to find out what is being stirred, what is happening here. When we can come to the knowing of this love inside your own functioning, knowing the love that you are, then this love will be known as the one love that is perfect. This is the possibility of our human life, is to remember the truth of who we are and to, let's say, for the life to be this offering, this profound offering. Mm. Mm. The light is never dimmed. The love is never ever fragmented. The glorious truth is always integral and whole. Anything and everything that seems not to be has to be found in the one heart. Everything is an opportunity to remember the love that you are, the one love. Mm. Mm. So just resting here, resting in the stillness, the silent presence, in the remembrance of what is true, what is untouched, what is wide open, simple and free, the infinite, timeless. Mm. The boundless presence. You can feel it as your own presence, opening to your own openness, meeting yourself here, all of yourself, whatever is here now. Not to try to get away from any part of yourself, so open as openness that all of you is welcome. Is there anything here that you want to resist? Is there anything here that feels to be missing? And can you open to bring the attention to this place? Feel the sensations, inquire, what is resisting? What are you believing about yourself? What is feeling threatened? What is hurting? What wants to be spoken? What wants to be heard? Just to notice. If there is anything discordant, then let the inquiry be a natural wisdom. The being is never touched. The wide open field is always boundless freedom. This is the truth of who you are. Boundless freedom. Mm. 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 What is needed is an amplification of love, not an amplification of fear. So let us be that amplification of love. Let us be the nourishment of love and be so aware of the tendencies to make an allegiance with fear. Mm. Mm. Those barricades come tumbling down. Find a deeper truth of who you are underneath the strategies and protections. Find the beauty and the radiance of the heart that is pure divine love. Mm-hmm.